Okay, let's call the meeting in order at 7 p.m. I'd like to just so everybody knows, I talked with Rick, and because Bill couldn't be here for the full time, he would have only been able to be a couple hours. And we have some other stuff we need to do with Lori, or else the world will come to an end at midnight on July 1st. I talked with Rick, so it wasn't just a decision I made in a vacuum. And Bill, and we decided to cancel the retreat and try to reschedule it. So hopefully everybody got that memo, and I will look for additions or deletions to the agenda.
Not seeing it.
Cool. I'll go to members of the public quickly. You guys are all staff. Well, if they come in, we'll take anything. And then review and approve the minutes of the 27th, 2019 meeting. How about May 27th, 2019 meeting? Would somebody like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion to approve those minutes.
Okay, Rick moved. Do we have a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Carrie seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Cool. I'm now to old business, so I'm gonna skip, if nobody has a problem, to the financial review from central office. Because Lori, with her bright yellow sweater, is ready to do a bunch of stuff with us.
Yes, all right. First, you wanted an update on the grant, right? The merger
Yeah,
grant.
the merger
Okay,
grant.
so that's-
The one that we were told was 150 for everybody, and became 150 for everybody.
Well, it's,
But we still work within those parameters.
Isn't it
It's
amazing?
amazing, incredible what we can do.
Yes.
okay.
Lori's not agreeing, but that's okay.
It's okay.
I'll give one to Peter, so he has one.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have one? Yes, I do. I saved myself one. All right, so this is the latest and greatest. Lost my pen. Here, Lori. Thanks.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, there's some money encumbered for, still for contracted service for fiscal, this is for our auditors. That is, it says AOE merger grant contracted service, that one. So we've set aside some money for the auditors to come in, and they'll be helping us transition from the fiscal year 19 databases to the fiscal year 20 databases. We have WRED contracted service, and we have, should be RVUSD contracted services there. So that encumbrance of $56.91 includes $3,000 that we discussed a couple of meetings ago for the website. So there is some money held aside for that right now. I'm not sure where you're at with that, but I just wanted to make sure it got in and held, so I put in a PO, to do
So
that.
basically, everything is gone.
Right. Yeah, and
it
so those
almost-
encumbrances can move around a little bit because they're
Right.
encumbrances, they're not spent out yet.
Okay. So we have $3,000 to play around with some web stuff in the future,
Right.
and then everything else is gone. But we've covered everything, and we're not going to get a surprise bill from the attorney or.
Not unless there's some major thing that happens between now and June 30th. But we did, if you look down at the bottom, there's $1,500 set aside for legal fees for the transfer of property. So it may not even be that much because it's pretty easy to do. Bill is sort of handling that piece of it with the lawyers, so.
Okay.
Okay?
Does anybody have any questions? One of our concerns was, if you remember, is we didn't want to just give any money back to the state, basically. And if we could use it for whatever we thought we should, make sure that we used it. And this will really be the last time we'll have a chance to spend it before July 1st, so.
Right.
So I think we did if you look back 2 years when we first started looking at this, we've done really well. We've stayed pretty well on target, haven't we?
Yeah.
So there's nothing we need to do. I just want you guys to see this, or I just wanted Lori to review it with us. So if anybody has any questions, if not, we can
Well,
go. Well,
go
I
ahead.
just have one question. You were talking about, we put some money aside to encumber it regarding website maybe redesign or that issue about website design. How
Yeah.
much money did we, was it $2,500 that we had put
30.
aside?
I put aside 3,000 based on the last meeting that I came to.
Okay.
So, the one issue is that the money really should be spent
Mhm.
by June 30th. So,
Okay.
so it still needs, to, even though I've got it encumbered here, it still really needs to be spent. I have not been able to get guidance back on whether, you know, if we obligate the funds. Usually we have 60 days after we obligate funds to finish it out. I have not gotten confirmation on that, so I'm still waiting for that.
So the only other thing, and it's probably not too late to do it now if we wanted to, since, you know, we thought we were gonna spend 3,000 or 4,000 and do a website, and then we get told that that was only the initial, and we were gonna be another 7 to 10 to 15 to who knew what, and there didn't seem to be a lot of interest from West River. We could we not move that money and encumber that against Anita for,
Yeah, we could prepay Anita, do a prepayment, and give, you know, she could give us a quote, and we could do that.
and then use, because I think when we come into next year, when we start looking at changing bus routes around a little bit, as Tammy gets more in line here on what's gonna happen, we'll be able to use some of it for that, and I don't think it would go to waste, and she's been very fair with us, so I think if we wanna do that, we could do that and ask Lori to contact Anita and just,
Anita.
but that's, everybody's gotta be in agreement, that's not just my
Mhm.
decision,
so.
So you would want to use maybe that money not for necessarily website design, but for other
To use it
services
for
for
Anita,
Anita, for
right.
communications?
Yeah, because we're still not out of the woods yet. There's still a few things that are going to change. I think if we communicate them well, they're not going to be. I mean, we're gonna, when the new operations person comes on board, and we're going to ask him to look at bus routes, and if he comes in and makes a recommendation to change bus routes, we're going to need to get that out to people. Not for next year, but for the year after, but we're gonna want input while we're discussing that with the budget in September, October. So we're gonna wanna let a lot of people know, and I think that would be a good usage of the money. And also, as Tammy keeps going with her STEAM, we don't know what Matt's gonna dream up in his little mind over the next year to increase the IB stuff. Big mind.
Where does the money go if it's encumbered and we don't use it? Does it
Well,
go back into the pot?
No,
so to
we're
speak?
going to, we're gonna contract with Anita for whatever many hours that buys us, and we'll just use that as we go. So we're kind of prepaying
We're
her.
prepaying
Well, the
her.
PR credit.
Right, but we
Right.
can't, because of the need to spend that money within a certain period of time, we can't
Right.
reallocate that towards website design.
If we made this change, that's gonna be the last change we can make.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if we wanna do something with the website, then we'll have to find that money somewhere else.
And just, if we don't re-encumber that money for like prepaying Anita, just out of curiosity, does that money go back into the,
It goes back to if we don't spend it on website, if we choose not to encumber it to Anita, and we go and put it in for website development, and we don't do anything with the website for several months, and it goes back to the state of Vermont.
gotcha, that's what I wanted to know, where it goes if we don't use it.
Right. Correct, Lori?
Technically, yes. We probably will not send money back to the state of Vermont because we also, you know, both boards agreed to hire additional staff for the new chart of accounts and the new implementation of the software. And so we did use some of the grant for that, but we stopped charging against that grant so that there would be enough money to do website design or whatever you needed. So in the end of time, when I have to cut the ties, I will move money in to cover the grant. So we
If there's
will
any
not
left.
we will not send money back to the state.
Gotcha.
Because it's legitimate cost.
Right.
That the boards agreed on, so.
So what do you wanna do, folks? Just leave it like it was? Do we wanna have Lori go to Anita and buy some more services? Or do we wanna do something different than we haven't even
But we're not doing a
discussed?
website, right? We know that, we don't have
Well,
enough
we
time.
chose not to.
$3,000
I
is
think-
not enough. So, I mean, leaving that aside for that, it seems silly, and if you've already spent the money, why don't we just move it over, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
It's already spent,
Is it a
then we don't have
special?
to worry about,
Mhm.
will we need to accept the money early, will we have to get an invoice from her,
Okay.
would be my suggestion.
Okay, so Rick has got a third point of view, just leave it there for Lori to help cover the overages
Okay.
on your transfer stuff.
Sorry.
Is everybody okay with that?
No.
Okay.
That's everything.
Okay, so you and Rick
Your
now go
fourth-
duke it
your
out.
Fourth option.
No, go
No,
ahead.
I would prefer to spend on Anita. I think it's important.
Okay.
When would we have to spend it on Anita? Like when?
Well, we
if
would
it-
contract
We're
to spend it
pre-buying.
now, but we wouldn't use the services for a little while.
Do we have a certain time before we need to spend? it?
No, because once she has the money, she's encumbered to
Then
us.
she's got it. Okay.
Right.
It's called a prepayment.
Prepayment,
I
yeah.
would prepay.
So we
it.
can-
It would show on the books as a prepayment.
All right, so we don't have to wait for it. Okay.
Mhm.
Is there a certain category that we need to, like, this is website design or communications? Could we think
No.
of something else that we could use this money for potentially? And
I mean, we,
I'd like to go on a month journey to Europe.
I don't mean that. I
trying a
mean
long
something
time.
related to what we're doing, whether that's more money towards, you know, STEAM development, or, I'm just wondering, does it have to be this category of we allocated for
I
website
think
design?
Lori's gonna have to have some kind of indication what it's for, because she has to complete the grant paperwork. And if we were to put it in for me to go to Europe on the school board,
Right.
they'll probably say no, and they'll ask for the money back. So, yes, it's gonna have to have some category that they're gonna accept. So we can't just, you know, put it aside to have an ice cream social.
Right.
say.
Did we talk about this before?
Oh, we've talked about this a lot.
Like, did we talk about, like, we weren't gonna do the website? I feel like we did that already.
We talked about the website, but then when it became so much and we don't have a lot of money.
Right, and then we were gonna do,
We talked about doing this, but we have
Yeah.
not given direction yet
I
to,
see, okay,
so we need to give direction to Lori so she can close this out.
okay.
And it's about $3,000, you said?
That's what I set aside,
Okay, so
but
that's what-
really, I mean, I don't, yeah, probably around maybe 3,500. The balance, it's 5691 is what's encumbered, and, you know, some of that will be, you know, BCTV and some other supplies, any newspaper notices or anything like that, which we shouldn't have any now, but, so.
I have can I ask another follow-up question?
Oh, yeah.
So one thing we were talking about is doing some more expansive media, like talking to or doing some promotion in the New York Times or larger publications about the programs
We were
here.
talking about, yeah, I thought that was more the individual schools.
No, because
Oh.
now the school is gonna end, it's gonna be River Valleys, and we're gonna have the Dover campus with International Baccalaureate, and we're gonna have Wardsboro looking towards a STEAM. I'd really love to be able to use some money to do some bigger publications and allocate that, because we haven't really done that. We've done a lot of local, but we haven't gone beyond that. And that's something we've been talking about for a while, and just not having really the time or resources, and we thought we should come back to the River Valleys Board, and that should be a River Valleys Board project of
Yes,
going to
that's
the
right.
future.
I messed that up because.
So I'd love to be able to take some of that and to
But again,
allocate that for a
we
larger.
can do that with Anita. I mean, if the money, yeah, if the money's in her account, she can help us put that together. We would just have to pay for
Yeah,
the.
we could ask her to put together a media plan, which is what we would wanna do, if we were gonna do something like that, and.
So I think
and
it does
maybe in
cover what you're-
preparation for
Okay.
a larger. I think if we contract with her, she's able to do a number of different things for us, including like, tell us how we could,
Expand our
we could ask her for. a plan.
resources about that.
Sure.
You know, we've definitely promoted locally, I feel like, and maybe even regionally, but beyond that, of telling families who are thinking about moving to Vermont what Wardsboro and Dover has to offer, I think is a good idea.
Okay, so somebody want to just tell me what we're gonna do?
So what's the motion, Lori?
There is no motion.
No, I don't think we need
No
one.
motion necessary?
I think you just need to direct me to contact Anita to put together a quote and then an invoice for a media plan that would stretch into next year and what that would cost. And as long as it comes in,
Or can we do, how about this, can we just direct you to any leftover encumbered money go towards the pre-buy for Anita for a publicity campaign at a future date? Is that okay with everybody?
Would Anita be comfortable with that?
Well, we'll find out when she contacts her. Because we still have the meeting we still have another Dover meeting possibly, another meeting in Dover where we could possibly do it, but I'd like to get it so Lori can be all done, so she can start moving on, because July 1st is coming hard and
I mean,
fast.
if all you need is just us to say, can you please go and negotiate with Anita on, I would like to see us do that, just have Lori go and do that.
Okay. Is anybody not comfortable with that?
Fine.
So by unanimous consent, we've given you our blessing.
all right? I
Thank
will
you.
have something for you at the next meeting, right? You do plan on having another meeting?
Yeah,
Or I can send it out.
just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Get it done. I mean, we've asked you to do that on our behalf as our business manager.
Okay.
So, signatories, did you wanna,
I want to talk about the whole accounts payable process.
Yeah.
And really, we need to have some sort of vehicle for when you are not meeting, particularly over the summer. Sometimes meetings get
snowstorms?
canceled. So let me talk through this first so you can see why we need to have some sort of plan in place. I went over this with the administrative assistants and I don't have an extra, but you have all this actually. 15 bucks. Sorry. I went over this, we had an administrative assistance training on the new system, on how to put in a PO or how to put in a requisition and a PO. But this is basically the process. You can read this later, you don't have to go through it now. The calendar, the AP calendar is the next page here. And so you will have your warrants on the first meeting. On the first meeting because you usually have 2 meetings a month. And you'll review and sign off on the warrants on the first meeting. Okay, and this just says when invoices need to be submitted to our office to be processed for your meeting. So the process is that everything comes to the central office. We prepare an AP warrant or payables packet, and then it comes to you to review and then sign off. And then it will go electronically to Marco, who also signs off on it before the funds are released. And so he's, as the treasurer, he has to check to make sure that we have the funds and all of that. That's his job. And then he usually reviews them as well. So what happens is that if there's a snowstorm or something happens on that date, then we're held up for the next, you don't want to hold your payables for a whole month. So we really need to have some sort of process. We've done, like Leland and Gray they've assigned Joe and somebody else or to come to the central office and sign off on a warrant when there isn't a board meeting. And then at the next board meeting, it's approved. So there's somebody still reviewing it. It's just, it's these things that happen off cycle. So, and then I did include just so you understand how everything is sort of having to flow with now taking on everybody's payables. The consolidated AP is on the next one. So this is, West River, Stratton, Wyndham, River Valley's, Wyndham Central, and Marlboro's AP cycle. So it's, it's sort of a dance to see where everything's going to fit. And then I did include on the last page is the payroll cycle too, just because it was part of the packet. So
But this isn't our payroll, because we only do 22.
This is, yes, it's your payroll for some of the people.
Right, for the admin
Right.
side, but for the teacher side, we're
It's
different.
22. Mhm.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because ours usually doesn't start till September.
Right.
Okay, no, I just
Yep.
want to make sure I was.
So what I'm asking the board is if you could, come up with a process for the off-cycle items that happen, and also if your board meeting is canceled for any reason, that maybe you assign one of your board members to come to the central office to sign off on the warrant, so it doesn't get held up.
And this is what I brought up at the last meeting where, said in Dover, we've had people who were signatories. And then we asked what they did in Wardsboro, and you guys don't do it because you're doing it a little bit different. So what we need to do is we need to make a motion to appoint somebody who can go to Wyndham Central in Harmonyville and just sign pay warrants when there's not a regular board meeting.
Is anybody willing to do that?
Yeah, I'm willing to do that if you guys want me to
Do you
do
need just
that.
one person to?
Yeah, we could do two and just say one or the other. So like, if it's Barry and I, hey Barry, I'm gonna be out of town for a week. Can you drive by when you drop your kid off at Leland Gray or something? Or, Rick,
Fall over if you're gonna be out of town for a week.
well, I'm going to Europe on the school
All
for
right.
$3,600
We're
bucks.
gonna hike the hill.
So it's always good to have two, that one of the two can sign.
Does Barry wanna do it?
Why just do
I think
that?
we had discussed this before, and I said I would,
Yeah.
I would do it with you, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So, do you need a motion?
yes.
I move that we authorize Rich Warner and Barry Pearson to
Be the signatories
be
if
the
there's not a regular
signatories
meeting.
if there is not a regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, so Laura made a motion, Carrie seconded it. Does Peter have it all down?
Yep.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Cool. Lori, we're knocking your stuff off really quick.
I know, that's
You're gonna
right.
get to go to that West River meeting if you want.
No,
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah,
Are you gonna watch on TV instead?
probably.
Yeah. You wanna do the initial funding part?
Sure, I'll talk about that. I don't have a lot more to say about it at this point. So I did contact the bank about a tax anticipation note, which I know that usually we don't like to do that in both wards, but
Well,
both of you
remember,
have
it was
enough
just you
money.
and I that discussed this. So
Right.
it- What we get, remember guys, July 1st, we start a whole new school district. So Dover has money, Wardsboro has money, but the West River district doesn't have, or the River Valleys district doesn't have any funding. And what happens is on July 1st, right away, the first thing Lori's got to do is do payroll for the admin and support staff in the buildings. So she's going to need money on July 1st. So one of the things we talked about when we were setting our tax, when we were doing the paperwork to send to the state for River Valleys, for our for the how much the taxes are going to be and stuff, we got talking about this a little bit. So one of the things is West River's borrowing money to have money available for July 1st. We, Dover and Wardsboro, haven't had to borrow money for years because we've had fund balances that we can borrow from ourselves. But the transfers aren't going to happen instantaneously. So one of the things we bounced around was, do we ask each school to write a check for X number of dollars to start this new West River account? And then Lori was saying, well, the rates aren't that high. Maybe we want to just borrow a couple $100,000 to get her going until we know how much is going to be moved, because both Marco and Lori aren't going to be able to write a check if they think there's $100,000 in the account. You can't write a check for that because in case there's a check outstanding or something got missed, obviously we don't want to bounce checks.
But the problem is that the bank, if there's Wardsboro and Dover combined, will not show a need for a tax anticipation note because you have large fund balances. So it doesn't really help us. So right now, pretty much my only option, because Dover banks with a different bank than River Valleys is going to bank with. So there'll be a little bit of a float on a check. So Marco is going to write a check for whatever we decide the amount is. However, there's probably a day or two float on that. Wardsboro, I can actually transfer money on 7/1 because I have access to do that, as long as the board is okay with that, and maybe that's a Wardsboro conversation, because Jackie's the treasurer, so she needs to be made aware that this will happen on June 30th. And so what I'm up against is that the money has to come out of Wardsboro and Dover on June 30th, but can't be recorded until July 1st in the new entity because of bank recs, right? You want to close up one year and start a new year, and you want to have the bank recs all work in that direction. So that's where I'm left with, and Dover doesn't have a lot of expenses in the summertime because they do the 22 payrolls. So right now I'm figuring out how much has to be left in Wardsboro to cover summer payrolls, any other accrued expenses that come in after June 30th that should be paid back to the fiscal year 19. So I'm coming up with that figure. I don't have it yet, but that really is the only option I have at this point.
So do we want to, at the next meeting, you send us a memo over? Or do you want to go to the Wardsboro meeting and the Dover meeting and just ask them for, so how do you want to deal with it? How do you want us to?
Well, I think it's probably a Dover and Wardsboro decision on how much we, or they allow to go out. So I will, because it's not something that'll be done through a pay order, so they'll have to agree to do that. So I will send something to each board.
Okay.
Okay?
So you'll be okay, and if you need anything from us, you'll let us know before River Valley's next meeting if you want us to do anything.
Right. But River Valleys is just the acceptor of the money, so it's not really any decisions to be made for River Valleys.
So, but we don't have to try to apply for a loan or anything. So.
No, I talked with our banker, and she said really there's not going to, you have to fill out a whole cash flow form, and it doesn't show you need one, so they won't give you one.
Nice.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You don't know, you don't know how much you might need for the total.
Not
You're
at
just
this
talking-
point in time. It won't be a lot of money, because there is not a lot of payroll in the summer months, so.
Is it clear as mud to everybody? Go ahead.
Just in the future, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So we have 2 grand lists. So we'll be sending out bills. Are we on the same tax collection? Because Dover's got 2.
Wardsboro's
And
2 as well.
well, you guys
Wardsboro has
know when
2
you
as well.
pay your taxes, so,
I think it's October and February.
yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
But don't forget, this is a one-time event because we're starting a new entity that doesn't have anything. As long as we have surpluses or we have reserve funds for even the building or whatever we decide to do, there'll be money for Lori to borrow from to get her going for the first. It's just because River Valleys won't have any money till July 1st.
I'm just wondering about the mechanics going forward, not necessarily right now. I think I understand what we're doing right now, but in subsequent years.
Right. We shouldn't have an issue unless we spend through all the reserves or we deficit spend in a year and have no reserves to cover it.
It's just a mechanical question. So how will funds go to River Valleys in future years, not this year?
The state sends us money.
Where they own. They get it.
Right, so the town of Wardsboro and the town of Dover will write a check to River Valleys in the future for the education funding.
Same, so June 30th, every year,
No, whenever
Okay.
the taxes
come in.
come in.
Yeah.
I think they have 20 to 30 days after to write a check to the school district. So it will work just like Dover does now, but the money will come from 2 towns.
Financial transactions with the state will be between River Valleys and the state, or will they be between Dover and Wardsboro?
Any money that's coming to it's a school district, so any money from the state, actually I just filled out all that paperwork.
Goes to us.
Goes to
Right,
River Valleys.
so
Yeah.
okay.
So
Great.
the state sends to the treasurers a form that says, okay, this is how much you're supposed to collect for statewide, or for non-residential and residential, and this is how much you give to the school, and this is how much you send to us, and these are the dates you send it. And
Okay.
so it's still the treasurer winds up collecting the money. It would make it a whole lot easier if the state would collect all their statewide property
I've heard
tax, so
that
the
before.
anger of the people would be directed at the people that are making the rules, instead of making the poor local treasurers have to answer to why their taxes are so high.
So eventually, all the money that is left in Wardsboro and Dover will come to River Valleys. It's just this is a particular situation because we have a payroll on July 1st.
Okay.
So that's where I need, the direction of Wardsboro to say, okay, you can transfer $50,000 or whatever that number is. And not have it go through the cycle of a board meeting, so to speak.
So you're gonna go back to the two boards, and you're gonna tell the two boards what you need
Correct.
them to transfer.
Right.
Okay, great.
I just have one other follow-up question. Since all the money is coming back, or all the money from Dover and Wardsboro goes into kind of one account for River Valleys as of July 1, does it matter where you're going to be asking where these funds come from either school? Doesn't really matter,
No
right?
longer, no.
No, but we gotta make sure the schools have them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's,
Because right now, Marco wants us to, on the Dover side, Marco needs some money transferred in. We're trying to figure out where we're at,
On the
and
budget.
I don't even know where that conversation ever ended.
I didn't hear, Lori was gonna work on that, I'm not sure where she was at with it, and I haven't heard back, so, I'll probably talk with her this week and see where we're
But
at.
the other problem too is, and again, it's this 1 year thing, the stat report isn't due till the middle of August, 1st of August.
July 15th?
Oh, is it July 15th? Has it always been July 15th? Wow. You're
And
getting really old.
the special ed report is August 1st. Those are the
So
two
there's
reports.
not even really a true up until after the new district starts, but there'll be a true up because, the state looks at all our expenditures and make sure that we did everything we were supposed to do right and put it in the right accounts, and even the auditors, and one of the things is the audit for the year ending June 30th, 2018 has not been completed yet. So we don't even know how we stood in Dover. We don't know if we had a deficit or a surplus, because a lot of times the auditors will have you move numbers around to better account, so that you're following acceptable accounting practices. So for the first year is going to be really confusing, and especially for Lori, because she doesn't do Dover's paperwork, she doesn't do Wardsboro's, and she only sees what we give her. So it'll be a lot easier. We won't be having this conversation again.
right. Do we need to ask our individual treasurers how much money we have so that when Lori asks?
We have.
us- We have.
Or at least we
Yeah.
have in Dover.
Yeah, I have access to the online banking for
Okay.
Wardsboro, so I know what's in the account. And so
And
we're,
we spent was it last week or the week before? When did we meet?
I don't remember. Last week sometime.
Yeah, we met last week to file the River Valley report with the state to figure the tax rates, which Lori's gonna talk about next.
Okay.
So those, I don't have copies of that, but the tax rates came out, the yield went all over the place. Ping pong all over the place, but it ended up about $20 where it started, from where it started. So the tax rates that you projected and told the public about are basically what I think it was, they were both right on. $1.54 for, this is after CLA, for Dover, and $1.43 for Wardsboro. So there shouldn't be any other adjustments to that. I submitted everything to the state. I haven't gotten back okay, it's final yet, so they may question something, but, I think we're pretty.
But
pretty
then
close.
we did have to move the 200,000.
I was just gonna, that was my second question. Do we have to use, did we
Yeah.
use all that $200,000
Oh, yeah.
that we, yeah, we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's how you built the budget. So that's how we built it. We projected that tax rate based on the 200,000.
Got it.
So now don't forget too, is it doesn't mean it has to get moved right away. And if during the year we find, like Dwight was bringing up, if there's a lot less tuition students going to high school, all it takes is 10 tuition students and we may not have to move that 200,000. But that also says that everything else stays the same and that oil doesn't go through the roof and propane and electricity. But, you know, so that's why one of the things is probably not till September. I'm gonna ask Lori to come in and spend like half an hour with us and give us a financial
Yes.
and so that we can all understand how it works and look at it so that we can look through the year. Because if we see like something's going really out of whack, we can ask why so we can correct it. Or, you know, things that we can't control like tuition, if that starts looking to be, you know, we're paying a lot more than we thought because there's a lot of students moving in, you know, how are we gonna account for that? Because we're not gonna get any more money from the state for all the additional students until the following year. So do we wanna slow down spending on something else or put off spending on something else? And we're still this summer and in the fall need to work on the capital plans for the buildings, the addition that they want to do in Wardsboro, the air handler stuff, and some other, you know, pretty major repairs, so.
Thank you.
Lori, did you have anything else?
No?
That was all I think we had. Has anybody got anything for Lori?
Fantastic.
Because we held her 6 minutes more than I told
Well,
her.
that's,
we
I was
would.
gonna stay for the handbook because this affects what we're doing in the new system, that it goes live in 20 days.
Okay, so why don't, does anybody have a problem jumping to the handbook next? Because it is the next thing on the agenda.
Well, I just brought up, Tammy and I were mentioning, going forward, with lunch money that I get in, how does, is that something that we'll have to work out?
That comes to me for my trip to Europe.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Right, do you make the deposits right now?
Go to Europe.
No, I bring it to the town office.
You do.
Jackie, take it, yeah.
The
Okay.
subway pass.
We'll talk through that. I mean, I think that it might mean that maybe you could go to the bank or it could come to the central office and then we deposit it from there.
Yeah.
But we'll work through that.
Perfect, thank you.
There's all those little
Yeah.
nuanced things that we still have to get through.
Okay. But that, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have that everywhere, I'm sure, even with all your other schools in the West River. And
Mhm. Right, yeah, we're having, you know, when you have different treasurers in different towns, we have to figure out now what's the new plan for that.
I mean, I like this thing you did on the blue thing about, you know, they gotta write POs and send them to the central office. I mean, it's gonna be a different world, cause in like Dover, they've always gone into the office and so, we'll see. I think once, you know, get the bugs worked out in the first year, hopefully it'll be pretty smooth
Yes,
sailing.
so, and the AOE changed the chart of accounts today, 20 days from go live.
Are you serious?
I am serious, I'm dead serious. And I found out this morning.
How significantly?
Pretty significantly.
So all the
Yeah.
work you did was for naught?
No, it's okay. I mean, they're supposedly going to do it behind the scenes, but it gives you a little bit of an anxious feeling when we have the system set with the account codes that we thought we were using, and now they're gonna come in and change those. And, you know, we're hoping that they change them correctly and that everything flows correctly. And so, yeah, that was a fun little thing that we found out this morning, so.
How many districts are using the new accounting?
For the go live on 7/1, I think there's about 8. There's a north and a south group, and I think there's about four SUs in each. But we don't have an option, you know, so some of the other districts, we'll say, like Springfield is going live on 7/1. They have a database that they could, if everything fell apart, they could run
Their old system.
their old system, right?
We don't have.
We don't have that, so it has to work. I mean, it has to work and it has to yeah. so it has to work.
And if it doesn't work, the state's just gonna say, oh, well, and then we'll have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. River Valley Unified School District Support Personnel Policy Handbook. Does everybody have theirs?
Yes.
Okay. Very little gloss, you want mine?
Sure.
Okay.
I got it.
So I asked everybody to do some homework because it was school and I thought it was appropriate. So, oh, Rick, do you need one?
No, I have one. I have, it's just,
I'm
it'll just
sorry.
be tiny. It's good. No.
So anyways,
I can print it.
I'm looking for comments, additions, subtractions, deletions, thoughts.
Well, Lori's here. How much is this gonna cost, Lori? This is a change.
Well, it would take me a little bit of time to figure all that
That
out.
would be good.
Well,
'cause I
we,
would-
we actually looked at it. I don't think it's gonna be much because Dover people are already covered by it and it was only one person in Wardsboro, right?
Well, from what I can see here, really, it's probably a savings for the board overall because the healthcare is at an 80, because you're mimicking the teacher's healthcare, right? That's what this says on here. Until such time that the state of Vermont determines medical insurance for employees, we shall mimic the teacher's contract. To mimic the teacher's contract, there is a board contribution of 80% towards the premium cost of the gold CDH plan. And I think currently it's 85. So there's somewhat of a little bit of a savings there. And then the teacher's contract only provides for an HRA, and you do have some employees that get an HSA. So those are a couple of differences there. But other than that, it's
We
not.
also need to decide if that's what we want to do too. That was just a suggestion. The board can choose to do whatever it wants to do.
Right.
Richard,
Yes.
the declining of insurance,
Yeah.
that's something we currently do now?
Yes. But I think the numbers are, I don't think we do as much. I don't know if I have my current one. Do you remember, Rick,
On the teacher's contract?
no, on the handbook that we looked at? Matt, do you know what we currently offer?
Just looking up now, I think it's 700,000.
And what do we have in there, Laura? Does 1,000 mimic the teachers?
I don't have the teachers in front of me, but I didn't think there was. Did you have a cash and live for the teachers?
I thought so, didn't
That's
I?
what this is.
I don't remember that.
I don't.
Boy, I tell you what, up here, between Rick and I don't think we can remember anything about that. It was, and I think I filed that away. Yeah, I don't have my negotiation. Yeah, I don't have my current, I don't have the one we worked on with the staff, with the teachers certified. So I can't tell you, Laura, I'm not sure.
don't have it in my email, so I think I just was handed a copy of it and I didn't bring that with me.
It's attached.
Hmm?
I don't see that it's attached.
What's that?
So there was legal, would require an amendment or legal language, which was attached. Where am I?
I don't think he attached the addendum. I think he actually put it right
Thank
in
you.
here.
Put it right in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rich, I had a
Lori,
question.
can I be dense? Sorry.
No, finish.
Where?
Where? Right after, it's like highlighted, the whole thing, right here.
This stuff?
Oh, maybe I'm looking
It
at a
starts with
different version.
employees eligible to enroll
I'm
in the
looking at the
VHI
third.
And then third too.
after
Oh,
I.
it's all, this one is in green.
There it is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
you
kinda
read
hard
that,
to see.
Barry?
You had to squint at it,
You wanna look this
Gross.
Yeah, I'm gonna look here, because this is.
yeah. Oh, there you go, that's a lot brighter.
This says this says 3,600.
Yeah. But the one
Well,
above.
it shouldn't say that. It,
Above is this.
Yeah.
So that
They'll
was
just
my
copy
question
it.
too.
it should say 1,000.
1,000,
It is.
Under
It's
I,
copied
right?
out of another contract.
because above it says 1,000.
Insurance decline, the district will pay each full-time calendar
Okay,
employee who
okay.
declines participation.
This is the legal language.
No, I don't think you have a cash in lieu in the teacher's contract. Tammy has hers here. It doesn't look like there is one.
Okay.
Okay. So that should be changed to 1,000.
It should, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I have another question. You had a question. I have
I'll
a
let you finish some.
I have another question on the end. On the case of an employee who's terminated through resignation, work the customary 2-week notice, salary value of the employee's accrued vacation time will be paid at the last check. Is that current language?
I'm sorry, say that again.
That accrued vacation time is paid with the last check?
Yes, usually.
That's unlimited?
No, because they can only
There's only
accrue
so
up
much you
to,
can only
accrue.
accrue.
yeah,
It's
and I
in
don't
here.
know where it
Okay.
is.
It's up
Okay.
higher, it's up higher here.
Okay.
If you, oh, go ahead, Lauren.
So, I think under F for vacations, we actually took out the accrued because, our system can't do two different types of, it can't do the accrual or.
Can't award and accrue.
So we have
You just
no
can't do
accrual,
it.
so it's
Right,
just.
it's just the
that's it.
straight award at the beginning of the year, that's.
So if somebody comes in, they work for 5 days, they quit, they get the full amount.
Well, I
That's
think it
what
has a
works,
6-month,
one way or the other.
vacation.
It says accrual in there, but you're not accruing it according to the chart.
Right, but so they can't use it until 6 months, though.
And you can't carry any over.
That's
I
up to
believe
you
that's in
guys.
your-
Well, that's what my question is. So my question is at the end, so, can you accrue vacation time for 20 years?
No.
And so how?
There's
what-
a max amount in there somewhere, I did read that.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
It's
Here we
under
go,
F.
looking at
It's
it.
under F.
Yeah.
But in one of them, they took the accrual, bi-weekly accrual rate out.
That's the vacation time.
Right.
I can only speak to what we do for the handbook employees of Wyndham Central and West River, and vacation time is not allowed to carry over. To use it or lose it. So that's
I would just like us to be clear about that, because I think we've had a situation where it was unclear and people were very concerned.
Right, we don't have to do, I mean, we're doing it 20 years, you get 25 days, so that's, 5 weeks, so that's a lot of time. Do you want to do that much?
I'm fine with that. What I'm not necessarily fine with is,
Okay, so,
You got 3 different types of
75
time here,
weeks.
and they all seem like they are different.
right,
Sick leave, you can keep up to 10 days, it looks like, right?
right, but in vacations, we don't say it.
Vacation, I don't believe it said anything.
So what do you want to do? Like, the town usually has, you can carry 2 weeks from one year to the next, but you can't carry more than 2 weeks past your anniversary date. Because if you're gonna give somebody 5 weeks and you let them accrue 5 weeks for 5 years, they can basically take the whole year off, which isn't bad for them, but the problem arises then when you need to put somebody in that position, because you didn't budget for a full year of a substitute for that position. So we can, I think most places, allow you to carry a week or 2 in case something happens, but that would be it. So you guys can just say whatever you want to put in there and it'll be there. Somebody want to throw out a suggestion?
a week.
Yeah, and what do the teachers have right now?
Teachers don't get vacation.
Okay.
There's no vacation for a
Sick
teacher.
days and personal days.
Because they're only contracted for 100 and X number of days a year.
And they have to work those days.
Right.
Gotcha, okay,
They get personal days and they get, sick time. But,
okay.
And
but
brief.
this is like, this is the custodian who works 5 days a
Right.
week, 52 weeks a year.
Right,
So he gets, they get vacation, I shouldn't say he, they get vacation.
okay.
And
Or
the
your
days- the days-
administrative assistants.
It's a silly question, but the days that the school is closed, that's still one of his vacation days. He doesn't come in.
If he doesn't come in,
Right.
that either vacation or holiday.
The calendar
Less
year.
than-
So when
That's good.
school's closed for winter vacation,
Right.
except for Christmas Day and New Year's Day, they
Vacation.
should be in the building. However, a lot of times your administrative people say, I don't want to be here for that week because nobody's here, and they'll take that week off, and we actually encourage that, because if they take a vacation day while the school is open, you got to have somebody in that seat. If they take their vacation while the school is closed, you don't have to bring a person in to cover that seat. So
Right.
you actually save a little bit of money. And I think somewhere it actually says that certain days off can only occur when school is
Well, it does say
not in
that.
session.
This one says vacation will not be taken while school's in session.
I think it's for a certain type of
Right.
employees,
Calendar year employees.
calendar year employees, yeah. That seems like quite a lot of vacation time.
Without permission of the principal and or school board.
But,
So,
yeah. Well, okay.
so we're still back to that thing, do you wanna limit the accrual? And if you do, we gotta add something under that section F.
I don't think you can even call it an accrual. You're not accruing it, right? You're an accountant.
Right,
This is not an accrual.
right,
This is an award.
yes.
It's just whether or not you get to carry over.
Carry it over.
Okay, so then we'll call it carryover. Do you guys wanna allow any carryover of vacation?
Oh, vacation days.
What does accrual mean?
Accrual means you pick up a certain amount for every hour you work. You pick up
Okay.
a certain amount
Sorry.
of vacation or percentage. You're accruing it. You can't do it both ways.
Okay,
You either award it at the beginning or you accrue it throughout the year.
okay, so then it's carryover. So it's kinda like we were talking about with Anita and the money earlier.
So, can I?
Yeah.
Lori, I'm sorry, again, did you say, so Wyndham Central,
So Wyndham Central Handbook employees and West River Handbook employees are not
Carrying
allowed
over.
to carry over. It's a use it or lose it benefit
During the calendar year.
during the calendar,
Well, the calendar year or the fiscal year?
the fiscal year,
Oh.
sorry. Yes.
so I assume we're consistent with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you use them all. So,
So I'm just gonna
There's a
play
good
the
chance
devil's
that-
advocate.
What do we do right
I mean,
now, just
getting
out
back
of
to what I said
curiosity?
before, it's a good chance they're gonna use it, because most
Right.
time, they won't come in during the holidays and during the vacation
Right.
breaks.
But
It's not
but
like-
the other thing is if they want it, so if you only get 2 weeks and you want to maybe do something a little longer 1 year, or you're trying to plan like a family, you have a family reunion and a wedding, and you'd like to have 3 weeks, but you only get 2 weeks.
Well,
So the year before you save a week and carry it over. I think that's a pretty nice little benefit. You know, it doesn't really cost us any money.
Yeah.
You know, it costs you a little bit more because maybe the year before they were getting $20 an hour, now they're getting $21 an hour, so it costs you an extra $40. But, you know, it's not like when we advertise for positions, we've got 100 people knocking on the door saying they want the job.
wait,
And I think, so,
I mean, you
What
can-
does Dover do right now? Because Wardsboro
I
probably
think they're
tracks
allowed
the
to, we
supervisor
allow them to
union.
carry it a couple,
Wardsboro
no?
goes along.
I don't carry vacation time over.
You don't? Well, there you go, so I'm wrong, so let's not even bother, I'm sorry.
you made a good argument, though.
I looked out for the employees. I'm an employee kind of
Having you
person.
had me, I was
Well,
ready.
that,
I mean, Matt, do you think it's, or Tammy, do you think it's something that the staff really wants?
Oh,
Would it be
well,
a
you
benefit
put
to
them
them?
on
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
Matt,
Could you just swing,
I think-
could you swing the
They hate more
camera
vacation
around for
time.
them?
I don't know.
Don't.
yeah, I think the question was just what does Dover do right now?
Yeah, I mean,
Is-
But the other thing is, I think we've always been, I mean, if there's something that somebody really needs for some reason, you know, so let's say an employee goes up to one of the administrators and says, hey, you know, this summer I've got to really do something, do you think they would let me? If they brought it to us, we get to make a decision. We can vary the agreement, we can vary contracts, so we can just leave it that way. And if somebody really has a family emergency that they want to
Or
carry
thing
or something,
you
or
wanna do.
yeah, let them go to you folks, and then you can make a recommendation to the board. Does that sound fair? Tammy, you okay with that?
Okay.
Okay, so that's good. That makes it really clean for Lori.
But that's only one. You still have sick leave and personal days. What are you gonna do with
Right.
those?
well, sick leave is laid out.
Sick leave, you have to allow, we allow some carryover of that,
That's laid out.
but they don't just get it, they have to get approved to use it. So we track it,
There's a maximum sick leave of 15 days a year.
yeah, which I thought was high.
Seems kind of high.
15 days, you got 4 weeks, you got personal days.
No, I
You add
agree.
it all up, it's like 6
And there's only
weeks.
180 days in the school year. I'm
It's a
sorry.
lot
It
of
just,
time.
I have a hard time voting for this.
It's a
Very
lot of
hard time.
It's a lot of time. Well,
But they
it's-
only get
that's not true.
six-
It's
they get
calendar
6
year. Most
per
of it's
year.
calendar, not for school year.
for how many days? Because
Hmm?
6 days is 10 here.
It's 10, and then it can be a maximum of 15 if they carry them over. If I read that correctly. Calendar years, and so school year employees are a maximum of 10 per year, and calendar is a maximum of 15.
No, school year is 6.
Right.
But a maximum
Right.
of 10 if you carry it over.
And if you know, the problem is, I think if you allow them to carry them forward, it's going to encourage them not to take it and only use them when they really need
Right.
something. And it used to be, I thought they had to get approval for it from to use those extra days. But then you also have the Family Leave Act now anyway, so
I
they
know. It's just like,
Do
you
you
wanted to
need-
get paid and not work for the year. It seems like it's an easy way to do it. I know it's a pretty bad thing to say, but.
Yeah, and we've been very fortunate. We've had great employees everywhere, so it's never been an issue.
Yeah, so
What's-
but it's
Wait till you get a bad one.
with bad
Right.
one, yeah.
What's the current status about 6 days and how that?
This is it.
So this is it right here,
Yeah.
okay. And
So this
they-
is currently what you have in Dover.
In Dover, right?
Okay.
So they can accumulate 6 days up to,
10
Oh,
for
you're looking
school
at
year
calendar
and
year.
say
calendar
calendar
year
year
can
employees.
keep up to
Up to
15.
15, and does that keep going, 15 for every year that they,
As long as you still have them in the
Yeah,
back.
maximum 15 if you don't use
So
it.
just as an example, when my daughter got hurt and I was in London, I had worked for the town at that point 20 some odd years, and I'd taken 2 sick days in 20 years.
right,
So they always tracked them. They kept how many, so I was entitled to 5 sick days a year. So they said, wow, he's got about 100 sick days. So Dr. Backus had to send a letter, and we had to, I had to go to the select board, but they allowed me to use 60 of those sick days to take off because I wasn't going to be there anyways.
Right.
But so it's something nice that you can do for an employee who's giving you a long term, and something serious happens. If that, and believe me, I wish that had never happened to my daughter.
Sure.
And I would have loved to have quit having only used those 2 sick days, after my term was over. But it was a nice thing. And again, we don't have 100 people every time we advertise a position knocking at the doors like we used to. I mean, the town of Dover one time when we advertised for a police officer had over 100 applicants. Now they're lucky to get 2. So I think some benefits aren't bad to try to get some decent people in here. But again, I totally agree with
I'm
Rick
playing
too.
devil's advocate
But
on this.
no, but you get the wrong. You get some employees that are really tough and will really run you through the ringer, and so it's really hard. But I'd like to err on this, that we're still a small town. We still got good people. We're still hiring a lot of local people that are really, their best interest is in our kids, in our students, and in our buildings. So I think the other thing is, if we find it's being abused, we can come back and change this. We can, they're at-will employees, so we can change this handbook anytime we want.
And it does require to get permission from the board if they're using it more than 15, 6 days.
And I think our,
Right.
and we're entrusting our administrators to run the building, and if they see a problem, they'll come to us. I do agree with you, Rick. It is. It's a tough one. And again, I wish we had thought of this. I'm sorry, Larry. Let me finish, and then I'll get right to you. I just kind of wish we'd spent more time. I feel like we're rushed this. We spent a lot of time on the teacher's contract, and this one we kind of totally spaced on. So the other thing is, we can try this for a year, and if we see there's issues, we can come back and make changes. Lori?
I would just ask that number 4, sick leave and family illness may be taken in 2-hour increments with the approval. Could we do half days? It's very hard to.
The personal day is 4 hours, right?
4
on a
hours,
personal
yeah,
day.
it's really hard to track 2 hours in any system, really, to be honest. Because
Now-
we don't track, we track by days, we don't track by hours.
Is that because of family leave, though, that we have to allow 2 hours? Because it's not under family leave, but it mentions family illness.
Yeah, this is as far as when somebody puts in for a sick day or, has appointments or whatever, that's where I would think that falls into play, and I'm asking that it could be half days instead of 2 hours.
Oh, well, it only says with approval of the administrator, so we could just take that right out,
Okay.
because it covers it up above. So if we want to do away with the 2 hour, we would say, and really, how many people could really do something in less than in 2 hours anyways? I mean, by the time you drive somewhere, wait in the waiting room, get seen, and come back, you gotta have over 2 hours anyways.
How do you get a sub for 2 hours?
You don't really. Well, the administrators. Yeah, or you pull somebody else out somewhere.
We have run into this issue
Yeah.
where people have tried to.
Is everybody okay if we take number 4 out and make number 5 number 4?
Yes.
Peter, will you note that too?
Yes.
Under A, sick leave, we're gonna take out number 4 and make number 5 number 4.
And number 1 says Dover School Board.
So one needs to be edited.
Corrected too.
Uh,
Yeah, this whole thing really
I
needs to be
know.
gone through.
That's why.
Like with a fine tooth comb. I did read it. It's just,
Yeah,
I read it pretty.
I like the one
And the more I
about,
read it, the less comfortable I felt with it, to be honest with you.
yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately, we're down to the wire really.
Mm-hmm.
I find the one about the town meeting pretty interesting too.
Yeah, 4 hours for town meeting.
Yeah. You get paid to go to town meeting, it's pretty good gig.
See, just so you guys know the history of this, we had a contract, our non-certifieds were under contract. We had a union contract with them. They didn't like it, so they voted it out. And we were like, nobody knew what was anything. So we actually took some stuff and put this handbook together. But to be really honest, our attorney said, why are you even doing this?
Right, right.
You just write it down what you're gonna give them. So it was, but we just, it's hard because how does an administrator who's trying to hire a person for a position tell them what they're gonna have if there's nothing written somewhere? So we really, the board at that time was between a rock and a hard spot, and this is kind of what we wound up with. And we really, I don't think, Matt, we've ever looked at it with you. And I don't remember if it was before Bill that we even did this. This may be older than Bill was there. Maybe
It's
go
been
back
a
to
while.
Susan Mack.
Yeah.
And then yours is kind of similar on a few things.
Yeah, it's the same one that Lori's been using. It's the
Right.
How long has
Wardsboro
that been
used
around?
The handbook, quite a while.
Quite a while.
The Wyndham Central handbook, yeah. It's been around for as long as I've been there, 15 years, so.
So listen, the most important thing, I think if we were to, tonight, if we were to settle on at least settle on the retirement thing, that Lori can get that going. Well, and I don't even know if we have to do that, because you said, and I totally disagree with that, but you said that BLCT says that, or VEMR says that they have to go, but sure, Dover doesn't exist anymore, so I don't see why River Valleys isn't Dover.
Yeah, this is coming directly from them. I think Bill has spoken to you about it as well. They're trying to get a video conference or something with Jen at Beamers to talk to employees about this, but it's basically to protect the employee that is, let's say, 3 years in and can't be vested until 5 years, and they've paid 3 years out of their salary. They would lose that.
No, they would get it
Well, they
back.
would lose anything that was contributed to, from the board's perspective.
Right.
With 2 years to go, so to be vested. So it's protecting the employee.
And we have Plan C for the employees now?
No, I think you have Plan B.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure you have Plan B.
So Plan B is the basic plan, because there is no more Plan A, just those that,
There is a Plan A still, but
but you can't opt for it, can you?
according to Beamers, you can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. So they have A, B, and C. I think they might even have a D.
They do.
I did not bring the Beamers chart with me, but it is on their website. You can look
The
it up.
D's for law enforcement and fire.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so we're currently in Plan B, which is a 5% contribution from the employee.
5.125 or something like that.
And then the employers are like 6% or something?
5.6.
5.6?
5.6 is B. Yeah, and the employee or E's contribute 5.
5.
Yeah.
And what happens is the employee contributes, the employer contributes, it goes into their fund. If they leave before they're vested, they get the money and interest they put in, but whatever the district put in just goes into the plan to help fund the plan. If they stay for their 5 years, they become what they call vested, and then any money, if they leave, they can freeze their money, leave the money in there, and they get what the town put, or what what we put in and what they put in, and it just continues to grow. And if they go to another job somewhere else that also has Beamers, they can, they can apply, they can move forward. There's a bunch of different rules. If like they move to another district that has maybe Group C instead of Group B, then things change a little bit and they get blended. But it is a pretty decent deal. There's also that's called the defined benefit plan, because for every year they work, they get 1.75% of their final average salary for the remainder of their life, or if they take a little less, their survivor benefits. There is a thing called the defined contribution plan, which is more like a 401k, where the employer puts in, I think it's 3 to 5%, and the employee can put from like 2% or 3% up to 15% or 18%. And if they leave after a year or after 20 years, and they want whatever was contributed on both sides is theirs. They don't lose the other part of the contribution, so.
Right now, Dover only offers defined benefit,
Right,
not
the-
defined
the-
contribution.
Plan B.
Mhm.
I think you can do defined benefit and defined contribution, though. You can allow both of them and allow the employee to decide.
You would have to put that in the minutes to do, well, for this board, you would have to put that in the minutes. It has to be specific, because there are a lot of places that only offer DB. So,
So what do we want to do? Do we want to at least lock in the retirement, or do we want more information? But then again, according to Lori and Bill, it doesn't really matter what we decide, because the people that have Plan B will get Plan B. But if we were to change, if we were to offer the other plan also in addition, there's usually like a certain time period that they can switch over, like each year there's a
not each year.
window, or
No, good, because I'm in a DC, because I never planned on staying more than 5 years. So, so I can't ever change. I'm DC for life. There's no opportunity to change.
in Beavers?
Right. I specifically asked this question the other day when I had her on the phone, for me personally.
Well, they changed the law a few years ago, and they allowed everybody a small window to move over.
Yes, they did.
So they'll do that again, I'm sure. Talk to your local legislator. So what do you guys want to do? Do we want to?
Can you offer the other plan?
I don't know.
No, okay.
What do you mean, other
Other, what
plan?
he was talking about.
The
other-
DC?
A
No.
defined
Yeah,
contribution.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know
has
for
to be in
sure.
the minutes, but-
We would. You think if we put in the minutes, we could?
We could just offer both plans, and then it seems reasonable for the new people that are coming on board to have a choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Does it
again,
cost
I
more?
don't
So-
know. Like Lori said, if you don't plan to be somewhere for a while, defined contribution makes a lot of sense. If you're kind of in a rut and you figure you're gonna be here for 20 or 30 or 40 years, you might as well go with defined benefit.
But it would only be for new employees or
Right.
Wardsboro's
That's right.
employees that could take the DC.
That's right.
How many people in Wards would be eligible to even join Beamers?
2, I think, maybe, potentially.
So if the Dover ones are all set for right now, can we just ask the Wardsboro administrator to just find out for the Wardsboro people to just look into the different plans and see if they would have interest in that? And if they would have interest, we can make it available. If they don't have interest, then we won't do it.
And I think that they're trying to set up, like I was saying, a conference call on
It's on
Thursday.
Thursday.
There we go.
So,
Okay.
So they will get that information right from Beamers.
so why don't we plan on, let's do this. We made a few changes in this, but we're okay then, Lord, if we don't vote on this tonight. And we vote on it next meeting?
That's fine.
Why don't we do that? Tammy, can you, when you know what's going on, can you let Rick and I know what people thought?
Sure.
We'll make those changes that we discussed about carryover, not accrual. We'll change that sick time thing for 4 hours. And then we can get a clean copy to everybody.
It needs to be cleaned up too, because there's
Right.
a few Dover schools in here and so forth.
There's
Okay.
a lot of that.
So why don't we do, is everybody okay with that? Lori, does that work for you okay? We're not putting you off too far?
No, I think yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Matt and Tammy, you guys,
Who's doing this work,
doing what work?
the revisions?
Me.
I think it's a valid question.
Well, I thought I did them before. I thought I got all the Dover schools out of there. There's
Sorry,
something,
guys.
there's this thing called a computer, and I think if you do it right, you can you can type in Dover School, and it'll take you to all the places that it says Dover School.
Control F.
Are you serious?
Yes.
In Word?
Control F is fine.
Find and replace.
Write that one down.
Control F.
Like you guys.
F for find. No, it's for
It
real,
says
Rich.
CNTRL, it's not all spelled out.
You can't believe how fast you can do it on a smartphone.
Lori, I always stand up for you. Stand up for me.
I wasn't listening, actually.
They're picking on
There's
me.
nothing wrong with that flip phone. Nobody can follow you wherever you're going.
Yeah, nobody can track you down.
Nobody's tracking you down. Nobody knows where you were. There's nothing wrong with that thing.
That's right.
It's right up there with the BlackBerry.
That's
why people use 'em.
There's just a lot of
You know that, though.
It can't spy on you, though.
30 years in law enforcement, you know that.
I'm going home. I can't even find
Lori?
the agenda.
Do you think you can tell us how much more this is going to cost us?
Right here, right now?
Not
Yeah.
right here, right now, when we come back and talk about it.
So
Because
when-
I have a feeling this is going to cost us a lot more than we think it is.
So when you
Us being the
say,
taxpayers of Wardsboro and Dover.
okay, when you say more, you're comparing it to what people.
Last year.
To
The
what they
combined
offer.
two schools last year, what did this cost? And what would this cost next year
Okay,
with the combined two schools if everybody chooses to buy up on everything they can?
probably less.
Well,
I doubt that,
No,
Dwight.
but
Well, you're
let
removing
Lori
long-term
figure it out. 'cause
Sat
we-
through these board meetings a lot, and I think
Yeah.
twice I've seen things cost less.
And we could speculate all night long. We could spend hours. Let Lori.
Do you mind doing that, Lori? I know it's a pain.
I just don't know if, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I can have it for you for the next board meeting.
Okay.
I'd
That's
be
fine.
completely honest, we have 20 days till.
We'd prefer for you to be honest with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I wasn't doing this conversion, absolutely, but,
If they didn't keep changing your account numbers.
yeah.
But what we can do is we'll know. It won't change anything in Dover, but maybe save on health insurance a little bit. So all we gotta do is know how many people in Wardsboro would be eligible for stuff they don't get now, and just add that up. And then if there's a savings in Dover on health insurance, then we can compare those two numbers, and that'll give us a rough number.
Yeah.
Will that be okay?
That's
Well,
fine.
there's
with me.
also savings in Wardsboro on health.
Do we do health insurance for,
Yeah.
oh, I thought none of the support staff got health insurance, and only the ones who Wyndham Central. Who were employed.
No, I believe there is somebody that gets health insurance.
Okay, well,
I
so
think the
that'll be,
contributions are different, though, or they were. I haven't been on the Wardsboro board in many years.
Yeah,
But the contribution used to be much
It's
different.
more, 85-15, this is 80-20,
Okay.
oh, so there'll be a savings there.
potentially, yeah.
Okay,
We want to
So-
take a little friendly wager on whether there will be a savings?
no.
Okay.
No, because everything cost more than it did last year. Thank you for the amendment. Okay. Anybody else? We're all good? Thank you, Lori.
Thank you very much, Lori.
Lori.
I'm gonna go back, update on Wardsboro Focus. Tammy, I think we're all good on that?
Yeah.
The only thing I will say, and I printed a copy of it if you didn't get to see it, I don't know if she sends it to everybody, but first off, there's this, Wild Nights band is playing in
Yeah.
Wardsboro.
That's right.
And there's some hoodlum on the end with a white shirt and a tie and sunglasses. He looks kind of scary.
When is
The
it?
curtain call. It's,
Curtain call.
Yeah.
June 21st, Friday, June 21st, at the
Town hall.
town hall. But anyways, there was a
It's good time
really,
had by all.
there was a really good Steam article in the Bucketville News, page 10 and 11, and there's a
Thank
lot
you,
of
Lori.
pictures. If maybe if Tammy signed this one, it'd be worth some money. Oh, Tammy's in 2 of them. 3 of them. Tammy tried to blow people's houses over. So I think Anita sent that out, so it was really good. I think that's what she's trying to get the month before that they missed.
Exactly.
And you have anything else? Nope. So I have discussed retreats, worked what that the board needs to do. So we canceled the retreat, like I said, for tonight. So we were thinking of, again, this is gonna be broken into 2 retreats, an operational, like July 1st, we start running a new school district, and then in August or September, the long-range planning, you know, so like 5 years down the road, IB's trucking along and Steam's trucking along. What else do we want to see? Do we want to do? You know, do we want to try to build an outdoor campus somewhere that, you know, both schools can contribute to in the nice weather or the winter, or that could play into IB and, you know, into Steam, or, you know, do we want to look for more transportation? Do we want to every year put a big ad in the New York Times on the front page saying, you know, move to Vermont, you can have a, you know, world-class education at affordable prices in the kingdom of Vermont.
Nice restraint.
What?
He's waiting for something or other.
So, anyways,
Chisels.
I thought maybe the operational retreat we could do sometime in July and just do a 2 or 3 hour thing, and just, you know, my kind of the questions I had, like, if Tammy's got an issue like that, she would normally go to your board chair. Does she come to me or does she go to Rick? Or, you know, like I sometimes try to stop in and see Matt because he's always got chocolates. And I haven't been very good about it. But, you know, if Matt has an issue, who does he go to, you know? And how do we want to, you know, and then how do they work together? You know, who's, if a teacher in Matt's building gets upset about something, do they have the ability, because it says go to your administrator, can they go to Tammy and say, hey Tammy, you know, Matt said this, but I think you should agree with me. And I don't know, has that been, you know, has there been those discussions? And then, you know, if there's an issue that the board, a weapons issue, you know, like we've had to have hearings, and I don't know if Wardsboro's had any for bullying now and weapons, and there's all sorts of things that the board has to get involved in. You know, one of the things is it was pretty easy when it was a Dover board or Wardsboro board, because the parent and the student would go to the school that they go to, and the board would meet with them. Well, do we want to make it a policy that, you know, if there's even though it's supposed to be a Dover meeting, do we have to have a bullying hearing? Do we want to make them drive to Dover? Or do we want to hold that hearing here? The other things I can think of that could be a question is, we have in Dover, we have a spending policy, a bid policy. Some of it, the state has certain laws that says if you're going to spend over X number of dollars, but we've also said, okay, if you're going to spend less than that, you know, but it's over, I forget what the state number is, 20,000, I should have brought 15. You know, some people say, well, between 5 and 15, you know, get 3 prices. You don't need to go to bids, but, you know, call 3 vendors up, or look in 3 catalogs, or look online in 3 different places, just to make sure we're getting a good deal. Do we want to try to continue that, or how is that going to work? Or, you know, are there things that the administrators, including Bill, want to know how the board wants to deal with? You know, what happens if Tammy says, you know, I got to go away for 2 weeks? So, you know, does Matt start coming over here to help out, or vice versa? If Matt has to be gone for 2 weeks, does Tammy go over there, and how does that all flow? So those are the kind of things I wanted to touch base with and see. But again, too, we may not know what we need to worry about.
We don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Exactly.
So I don't know if we want to. I thought maybe just we could spend maybe one meeting, or take one meeting this early this summer, and meet once in July maybe, and have that operational kind of discussion as an informal meeting, not like we sit here, but we don't even need the TV guy, but just, you know, we can sit around a big table and just have, you know, more of a general discussion, which is more like a retreat. Would everybody be okay with that instead of a more formal, like 4 hour, yeah, nay?
What you just discussed, though, I mean, are there policies that were standing on the Dover school side? Was that a policy, the $5,000 to $10,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, we have a
So
bid policy there.
Perhaps maybe we should go through both the policy books and see, you know what I mean?
Compared to what we're
Compare
doing now.
compare the two, you know what I mean?
Because we
Do
took
need this and don't
ones we
this?
needed.
Yeah,
And then we did the mandatory ones,
exactly.
but we left the other ones kind
Yeah,
of
the
off.
other ones are just kind of blowing in the wind right now. I don't really
Right.
know what happens with them. They're technically not policy.
They'll be gone
until
July
we-
1st.
Exactly, until we come together on it. I know we have a student privacy one here because our numbers are so small in our classrooms. You know, so there are a few policies.
You know what we could do too is we could throw some work on the administrators and say, hey, take any policies that we don't have in River Valley that you have at both your respective schools. And if there's ones that you think we should bring forward in some form, why don't you guys do that instead of us making that determination? And maybe there's none that you want to bring forward. Maybe we've got all the ones we need.
That
Does that
makes a
make
lot of
sense?
sense to me.
Okay, why don't we do that? Matt, is there anything you can think of off the top of your head, or?
There are a lot of policies, we have a lot of policies in Dover that are not on the required, recommended, or for review. So we would really want to take a deep dive, I think, at what we
Well, no,
have.
So my question is, are any of those ones that you would want to see brought forward to River Valleys?
I'm sure there are some there that have been, that we've used, that have been helpful.
And the same with you, Tammy. I mean, what I think I'd be looking for is your guys' recommendation. You tell us which ones you think we should incorporate. And maybe you guys can
Yeah.
compare notes.
Did we bring a residency one forward?
Oh,
That's one
residency
thing that
one
we
is
were
one
gonna
we
talk
definitely
about.
want to get on too.
We did not bring one, as far as I know.
Yeah,
we didn't.
yeah.
No, we
But we
we
won't
should
have
do
them
that.
though, right?
Right, but they go away July
Yeah, that's
first.
what I'm saying, we should have one
So
in
we
place.
should definitely
as
bring that
quickly as
forward.
possible.
Yeah,
They said
residency is
actually.
one. Peter, you want to just note that?
Yeah.
Sure, before July 1st.
So maybe, so is everybody good with maybe we'll have one meeting in July? And then that way, if there's anything you folks come up that you want to know about, we can discuss it, and then we can spend a majority of the meeting just kind of talking about operations and things that you guys are gonna need support with for the first few months.
Sounds good.
And we'll try to schedule it so that Bill can be there also.
You can find those hot policies that we feel like need to be.
Mhm.
Well, and again, the reason you have a policy is because something caused you to have that policy. If it's not a mandatory one, I mean, we had a policy in Dover for a while about field trips because field trips ran amok. We had one teacher was taking 2 to 3 field trips a month, and we were getting a lot of complaints. So we, had to come up with a field trip policy. And I think we did away with it before you got there, Matt. But again, there was a reason why that policy was. Somebody said something the other day, which I thought really cute. When you read a warning label that says, don't put your cat in the microwave and turn the microwave on, the reason that's there is somebody did it.
Yeah.
So, the reason we have a policy is because something happened. So, if that's okay with everybody for July, let's pick a date to do it.
That'll be the hard part.
Yes, it
Should be
will.
interesting. Have like a 1 hour window.
Be the end of July for me.
July.
End of July for Carrie. Are you going to Europe without me?
No, I have a trial and a vacation, so that.
I keep
brings
telling
me
you,
to
you
it.
wouldn't get in so much trouble. You wouldn't have to be in court all the time.
So
I can do the first.
Nope.
So look towards the end of the month.
Towards the end of the month?
Yeah. And that'll give Tammy and Matt time to, catch your breath after school closes and we're not trying to force too much.
I have the 15th.
29th.
Oh, wait.
Nope, that's fine, I'm good there.
29th,
29th?
That's the last-
That's the last Monday.
it's the last Monday then.
You gone?
This is vacation week for you, the same thing?
You do 29th.
29's not gonna work.
I won't be,
I can do 22.
29th doesn't work for Barry.
Yeah, I'm away.
That's definitely not gonna work.
So what about
You're
Any
here.
time
This one I-
before that though.
Huh?
That week.
I can do 22
This
and
week, I can
29.
do 15th I
Okay.
can do.
I could do.
Can you
20
do-
I could do 22.
Can you do 22 or 29?
29,
Not the 22nd?
no.
Carrie, you can't do the
Possibly.
22nd.
I'll be in trial, the verdict will be coming in.
22nd or 29th,
Why don't we go early? Can everybody go
I can
early?
Well,
the
she
first.
can't. Carrie can't do anything
Okay,
earlier.
Okay, we can't do anything else.
The only one she can do is the
8th?
29th.
No way.
But Barry
Yours.
can't do the 29th.
Can't.
I have an idea. Ready?
Virginia
Yeah.
Maracas?
Can we just see how many people can do?
Which one?
And start narrowing it
Possibly
down.
the
The
28th.
28th and a half.
28 and a half. It's a Sunday. Oh my gosh.
Maybe we're early enough to warn for another day too.
Well, the other thing too is if you folks want to do a Sunday, we could do it at my house and we can just have, we can do a barbecue out back by the pool and have our meeting.
Oh, anniversary.
What?
It's like the least committal nod I didn't.
I don't see, I don't know how productive that would
More fun.
be. Or fun though.
Well, just a Sunday, I know there's no court on Sundays and,
28th?
yeah.
Yeah, can't really do that.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No. No. Driving back from.
Driving back for me with my wipers on. Okay, here's your assignment.
You need a doodle poll.
Somebody,
We just need to send a doodle poll out.
okay, hold it, I can do that.
Hold on.
Doodle poll. Here.
Doodle pool?
You can't do it on that.
Oh,
Doodle polls.
hey Matt, would you send the doodle poll out for me?
What are we looking for?
Give us, Matt,
Sundays and Mondays.
give us a couple Sundays and a couple Mondays towards the end of July and see who's available. Include Bill, you, Tammy, and the board.
What about another day other
So
than
we have
Sunday or
an
Monday?
administrative retreat on the 29th.
So, Bill, Matt. and-
Okay, so we can't do the 29th.
For that, most of that.
Can't do the mat? That's
So the 29th doesn't work. So how about the,
anniversary.
so how about a I mean, do people want to do a Saturday, a Friday? I mean, you guys tell me, I'm really easy.
Okay, so this is gonna be really,
I'm retired, I have no life.
No, yeah, trial.
I'm just here to serve you all,
Yo.
y'all.
I might have a meeting over there.
You're ready to be there.
I'm already gonna be there.
Could it be any other day other than a Monday or,
No, that's what I just asked, but I haven't heard
besides a
anything.
Monday or a Saturday or Sunday?
oh, yeah, sure.
Can we do a Saturday? Can we do a Friday? Can we do a Thursday? The problem when you start getting into other days is that, we've all kind of
Okay.
picked our meeting nights so
Yep.
that, like, West River meets a different night than we
Are you
do,
taking
and that
vacations?
Yes?
In
Marlboro
July?
meets a different night, so poor Peter can go to all the meetings, not just a couple.
The 10th
They're
and
having
the
a 14
14th.
over there.
No, I'm writing down his vacation time. This,
He wants to
run
we're
me
just
away.
gonna go around and around here.
And
Well, that's what I'm saying, let's just
20
pick a
no,
couple different dates and we'll
21st
have
to the 20.
Matt send out a doodle poll.
There you
He's
go.
so technologically
Well, I
advanced,
might
he'll
be
probably have
down.
it sent out before we
It's no maybe.
adjourn.
Let's just all meet at Wardsboro, July 4th.
I'll have you all know that the camera guy picked us over another meeting.
Set up a
And
table.
We'll have a float.
he's
Yeah,
We'll
right.
bring the parade.
He can't
Wow,
believe-
that's
he can't
He's
believe he
regretting
did
his
it.
decision.
Yes, he is.
That's because he doesn't have to pan the shot very much.
Yeah.
All right.
July 1? Did we have this?
15th is, so the 15th, 16th, you can't do the 15th?
I can do any time from July 23rd after that, not any time before.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna let Laura deal on that for a little while,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna move on.
That's bad.
There's nothing, so if Carrie can only do 23rd on, and you're not here from the 21st to the 28th, and they have an administrative retreat on the 29th, we're done.
That's it, done. Take
We're
our
done.
July.
So either that, or we're gonna have to go
Well-
with less people.
Less people. The 15th?
Or go into August.
If you wanna go with less people, we
I
can do a
got,
doodle poll.
I figured we'd have one meeting in August, because we usually don't meet the first of September, at least in Dover, because we let you guys kind of get your feet under yourselves with the new school year and the
16th
kids
this week.
coming in, and why, you don't need to worry about setting stuff up for us,
We got
so.
the 15th this week.
But we're gonna have to start on budgets,
That's like the best
right
week.
away, too.
Or the last week.
But she's
So I'm
not
hoping
here.
that maybe in
Carrie's not
August, we could have maybe
We'll
that
figure
other
it out.
kind of mini
That's
retreat
it.
where we
Those
can
2 weeks.
discuss the future, the
Basically,
budgeting, and how that's gonna work.
Other than the first week of July and the 29th itself.
So August 5th is a regular first Monday.
Hmm.
This, where, I mean, if Carrie spelled her name wrong.
Hey, how about August 5th?
I love it.
August 5th?
Love it.
Yes, good for me.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Are you going to Europe with
If I'm
me?
here, I'm gonna be here.
You okay, 5th?
As far as I know. yes,
Laura?
I'm on the same
I
boat.
have a meeting on the 5th
Kids are
here.
not, I'll know you're at
Second
the-
6:30
half
already on
August
my
for me
calendar.
is complete.
Look at that, okay, so you don't have to change anything.
Matt.
Except maybe the time.
5th, are you good? Tammy?
I think so.
Send Bill an email, a text or something, just ask him to reserve that date for us.
August 5th?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, West River needs that date.
Don't even.
Don't go there.
Is it?
So there's no meeting in July then?
Well, that's when they're gonna be in the Supreme Court. And see if, this may be asking too much, I may get shot at, but can everybody meet maybe a little earlier that night too?
Yes.
Sure.
What time?
5 or 6?
It's how accommodating
Where?
everybody is right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Sure, why not?
Can somebody make a motion to send me to Europe for a month?
Where are we
Just a
doing
month?
this meeting?
Wardsboro.
In Wardsboro?
Here.
It would be the first, yeah.
Okay. Wow, I think we got something.
Thank you.
We're meeting in July
So-
for a regular meeting?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a time we can
Doesn't
meet.
sound like
All
there's a
right.
date.
Well, we don't have to all attend for a regular meeting.
When
We're
you
not
say
doing-
early, what do you
Oh.
mean?
I don't know,
5.
I said 5 or 6, but
I
I'm
wrote
waiting.
5 down.
Five.
Okay.
Okay, 5 PM.
August 5th.
Good.
Cool.
August
Is
5th
it-
at
do
5
they do
in
pizzas at the
Wardsboro.
Wardsboro store?
No, they don't.
So I'm
do it
taking
the
that
West
off.
Forest
We're not
store.
meeting the
Right?
15th.
West
On Mondays?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
What is
We'll
it?
be under a new budget, so we might as well spend your money
So there's no
quick.
meeting in July?
So, Then I think no meeting in July, folks. I don't see any reason to meet. Does anybody?
Sound like it.
Let's take July off. Let's give ourselves a vacation.
Central office and sign those.
Yeah, so Barry, you and I are just gonna have to talk to each other, make sure one of us,
And we're going out of
yeah. And so you and I can email each other.
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay, so we got a motion to send me to Europe for a month, and we have a second by Barry. All those in favor? Transportation. We were talking about approving the bus routes maybe, so that we don't have to worry about doing it, because now if we don't have a meeting in July, we'll never be the 30 days. So we either have to do it this meeting or next meeting. Are you ready to do it this meeting? We'll do it next meeting.
And to clarify, bus routes or bus stops?
Whatever we have to republish a month ahead of time.
These stops.
Routes.
Bus routes. You can make the stops wherever you want.
So we're really close then.
Okay, so just next meeting, because we won't meet, we won't have a meeting before the 30 days before we have to warn it. I got everything covered under old business unless I missed something that somebody else wants to bring up. Cool. Under new business, I had nothing. Does anybody have anything new? Cool. I do have one executive session item. So the next meeting will be June 17th in Dover at 7. And then the summer schedule, we've got August 5th. 5 p.m. at Wardsboro.
Yeah.
Fantastical.
And then next meeting, then just everybody think about the handbook, because we got to get that voted on. And also for the next meeting, everybody needs to think about what we want to discuss at the retreat, what you want, because we want to let them be prepared. And you guys do have some stuff that you can work on for us?
Is the 8-5 meeting the retreat?
Yes.
I thought you meant you really got to go out and have a retreat.
We are, we're going
I'm
to
really
retreat.
sorry. It's a work retreat.
Yeah,
Like a military retreat.
yeah. Yeah, we're going backwards. A strategic retreat.
That's not going back.
I have a contractual employment issue. So if I can get somebody to make a motion to go into executive session for
So
that.
moved.
Laura moved. Barry seconds it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Are we exiting?
No, can you guys just take off? I only need about 2 minutes.
Turned at 8:43.
Okay. So I make a motion that we ask the chair to sign the contract for Matt Martin
I second.
Okay. It's for next year.
for next year.
For next year.
What say ye? She asked you. You're instructing him.
Yes.
You're instructing him to sign.
Yes, we're
You're
instructing.
not asking him.
Yes.
Sorry,
Instructing
want to keep it tight.
Direct.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're
so
directing
Laura
you.
made a motion.
Directing.
Do it.
Signed
Barry
the
seconded.
2019-2020 or the 2020,
2019-2020 Administrator contract from Matthew Martin.
July 1, 2019 to June 30th, 2020.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
July 1 to June 30th.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Dun, 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 dun. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I missed the second.
Barry.
Oh, it's me.
Thank you.
6/3/19. No ball game tonight. No ball game?
Hockey,
No.
No, hockey's tomorrow night.
Bruins are playing tonight, aren't they?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow night.
tonight.
Tonight?
No idea.
Oh, yeah, no, they won Saturday night, so, yeah.
Tonight, that's right.
Should be the second period.
Okay, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Barry seconds it, Laura moved it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're out of
Aye.
here. Thank you very much.
Like this
Thank you.
vibe, Gary.